Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piroworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. It's the coast with the most from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. Two-way views, conservative news, and Craig, guess what day it is?
Hey, stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image of me that you're used to. I look money, a king bee making honey, see? Deep state, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round, I'm the new sheriff in town. All my people rise up and stand your ground. Now drink up all the Diet Coke you got on your shelf. So just let me introduce myself. My name is Trump D. I like my mashed potatoes lumpy. Fake news, oh how I like to punk thee. That little sniper on the slow tin. He took a shot but he missed me. I don't fall, y'all, I'm like the ever-ready bunny. Still going strong and spunky. So put on your big boy pants. Come on, let's do the dance.
The Trumpy dance is your chance to do the Trump.
Come on, do the Trumpty Trump. Come on and do the Trumpty Trump. Check me out, y'all. We do the Trumpty Trump. Just watch me do the Trumpty Trump. Yeah. Do you know what I'm doing? We do the Trumpty Trump. Come on, everybody do the Trumpty Trump. It's time to do the Trumpty Trump. Yeah. My favorite.
I dig that song every Monday.
Good song. Good song. Perfect remake.
Yes, I have a good time with that song every Monday, every time we do the show on Monday. So, in any case, how was your weekend, my friend?
Long and distinguished. Long weekend. Long weekend.
Long and distinguished. Well, that is definitely good to hear. Mine was kind of weird. I had a conference all weekend, which was in addition to a very, very long week where I had meetings every night, and then I had meetings all weekend. So I still have not had a day off in like a couple of weeks.
I feel you. I know how it is. Days off, I'm not sure what they are. Yeah.
I do not know what they are. I need one. I desperately need one. But doesn't look like I'm going to have one, at least not until this weekend.
Well, there you go. Good luck with that.
There you go. It's like good luck with that. Yeah. Anyway, excuse me. Yeah, having a good time though. Having a good time. Let's go ahead and get into it. And we're going to start off the way we usually do, and that is with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Go ahead and get up with these guys. They got rifle barrels, pistol barrels, shotgun barrels, all your AR desires, rifle caliber, pistol caliber, anything you need. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Public Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the holsters.com, that's AWGholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. It's all one word, no spaces, all caps. Get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment and visit our sponsors. We make it real easy for you. All you have to do is follow the links in the description to this program. Go there, check them out, spend some money with them, and let them know it's the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to remind you, if you're watching this program during the 3 o'clock hour on the West Coast or the 6 o'clock hour on the East Coast, you're watching us live. We would love to hear from you. Love to hear what you think about the program, what you think about the topics, whether you agree with us or disagree with us. In fact, it's almost preferable that you disagree with us, because if you disagree with us, well, that gives us the opportunity to mock you.
Oh, wow. Is that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
Mock you.
Mock you.
Mock you.
Yeah, you mockingbird. Good stuff. Well, anyway, tons of interesting stuff in the news this weekend and today. And like I said, it's one of the reasons why we celebrate Mondays is, once again, and I say this almost every Monday, but you know, under the last president, it was like it was really hard coming up with stories for Monday, because you knew that Joe Biden was comatose, if not dead, all weekend, and probably didn't wake up till noon Eastern or noon Western Pacific time on Monday. So there really wasn't a whole lot to talk about over the weekend. But with Donald Trump, there is always something.
All the time. The guy's up 22 hours a day.
Yes. And sometimes the most interesting things happen like right around 3 o'clock his time, where he's when evidently he pulls out his secret phone to be doing his truthing.
Kofifi.
Kofifi. Anyway, tons of interesting stuff that's going on. But today I wanted to start off with a quick report on the news of the hour. I mean, this is literally just like breaking news. In case you have not heard, there was an active shooter situation. In this particular case, it was an active shooter situation at a mosque in Southern California or in San Diego. Basically, the Fox News here is reporting. It says teen suspects dead after mosque massacre leaves 3 victims killed, police say. San Diego Police Chief Scott Wall said Monday that the 2 suspects involved in the shooting at the Islamic Center of San Diego are teenagers ages 17 and 19, and both are dead. Wall told reporters investigators believe the suspects died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds and said no officers fired their weapons during the incident, though the investigation remains ongoing. Authorities said 3 adult victims were killed at the Islamic Center. Wall identified one of the victims as a security guard at the mosque, saying the guard played a pivotal role in preventing the attack from becoming even worse. Officials did not publicly identify the other victims or provide additional details about them during the briefing. Now, Mike, I don't know. Did you? Because once again, I know you got your sources out there. Is there anything in particular you're hearing about what went down, or any information that's out there on this particular incident?
No, nothing yet. Besides that, like you said, the security guard stopped this from being any worse than it was.
Now, interesting that this took place at a mosque, and you know, it was one of the things that was interesting about it was they talked about the massive police response. It's interesting that they made it a point. I mean, why do you think the media is focusing on the quote unquote massive police response? Was it really massive, or are they trying to virtue signal here?
Yeah, it's the start of the virtue signaling, right? They're gonna, turn this into, the poor mosque victims, and how evidently they're more important victims than victims of a school shooting or a regular church shooting.
Yeah, other shootings where there are fewer victims, you notice they don't make as big a deal out of it as they're making this one. I think they're making a big deal out of this one because it is a mosque.
Yeah, agreed. This will start with the hatred of the right. This is how this is going to go down.
Oh yeah, they're going to be talking about right hate. They're going to be talking about Islamophobia. Everyone's going to be focused on that. No one's going to be talking about the fact, every time they go after a synagogue, no one talks about anti-Semitism.
No.
But they're going to focus now. They're going to talk a lot about the Islamophobia here.
Yep.
They're also going to, by the way, ignore the fact that here once again is an active shooter situation in a state where that is considered one that had to have the strictest gun laws in the country.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened out there, Craig. I mean, just how does it happen when you've got every gun law in the world to prevent gun violence? I don't know how it happens.
Oh no! I mean, I would guess you'd have to be a criminal and not care about the laws.
Sounds like that, right?
Sounds like
we're
that,
not gonna
but
stop criminals with laws,
But there are people out there like that.
It's weird.
I'm not. It's not computing. I'm trying to figure out: are there really people out there who just don't care about the laws?
I mean, again, Craig. I mean, there's laws that prevent these gun violence, right? Gun violence, right? The gun from going off. It prevents. It's almost like if we had murder was illegal.
I know. Wow. Now, Mike, I'm guessing that the biggest problem here is they probably didn't have a gun-free zone sign.
Could have been it. It could have been it because those signs solve the problem.
Yes, if they had their magic talisman, their gun-free zone sign, I'll bet you that would have stopped it.
Yeah.
That's all I can guess.
Stopped them cold. Yeah.
Now I'm wondering if this security guard that they are referring to, I'm wondering if the security guard was armed, because Lord knows a good guy with a gun could not stop a bad guy with a gun.
No, we'll find out. And listen, it could go either way at this point. He could have. I mean, you can run the scenarios through your head. Where armed or unarmed could have stopped this attack. So we'll just have to wait for better, accurate reporting and find out together.
Well, let me just say this. Anybody involved or engaged in an active shooter situation, I don't care who it is against. This is wrong, and these kids. I want to find out what was going on with them, and once again, if you can find a way to prevent it, I'd like to be able to do that. But in the end, the best way to protect yourself is to be prepared, because guess what? There are evil people out there.
Yep.
And it's always better to be prepared to deal with evil people than it is to pretend that they don't exist.
That's right. That's how you do it.
I don't understand why that doesn't seem to be a really hard thing to understand, but for some reason, people just don't seem to get it.
No. Well, I'm sure by tomorrow they'll figure out what new law they need to, potentially stop this crime.
Oh yeah. Well, by the way, because they're Muslim, this is officially probably a hate crime.
Of course it is. Of course it will be. Yeah.
There you go. It is probably a hate crime. Anyway, moving right along, Trump creates $1.7 billion fund for allies persecuted prosecuted by Joe Biden. Now, this is something that's important to understand. A lot of people are giving them grief about this because in the end, the DOJ who set this up, well, guess what? He runs the DOJ. But this is a lawsuit that existed before he got reelected. Anyway, let's read a little bit about this. It says the Trump administration creates $1.7 billion fund to compensate allies prosecuted under Biden. In a filing with federal district court in Florida, Trump, his two eldest sons, Eric and Donald Jr., and the Trump organization said they were withdrawing the action, basically meaning they're pulling their lawsuit. A former IRS contractor was convinced in 2023 was convicted in 2023 of leaking the tax returns of Trump and other wealthy Americans to the media and received a 5-year prison sentence. Trump's decision to withdraw the suit appeared to be linked to a move to create a $1.7 billion compensation fund for the Republican president's political allies who were investigated under Democratic predecessor Joe Biden. According to ABC News and other media outlets, Trump's Department of Justice plans to create a so-called Truth and Justice Commission for individuals who believe they were unfairly pursued by the Biden administration. This could include, for example, the hundreds of Trump supporters who were prosecuted for their involvement in the January 6th, 2021 assault on the U.S. Capitol, which sought to prevent congressional certification of Biden's election victory. Trump issued a mass pardon to the January 6th defendants on his first day in office last year. The reported compensation plan for Trump's political allies has prompted fierce criticism from Democratic lawmakers, with Representative AOC of New York calling it outright corruption. Now, I think the one thing that these critics are failing to understand is, one, I don't think the president is necessarily planning on benefiting from any of this, but there were people who were prosecuted because they supported Donald Trump, and they've spent massive amounts of money on legal bills. There were people who were arrested for simply being in the Capitol, right? For simply being in the Capitol. They were hunted down. They were arrested. They were put in jail for extended periods of time. Some of them lost their jobs. There was a lot of folks who've been prosecuted. And that's not including the people who were investigated, who had to go and testify to the DOJ, all of these things are basically you have to get lawyers for. I mean, a lot of people's lives were negatively impacted simply because they supported Donald Trump, and it was not Trump's fault. It was the DOJ's fault, and therefore these folks need to be made whole.
Yeah, it was the Biden DOJ's fault.
Yes.
Clear on that. That went after these people again, Craig. I mean, every time you go to watch these videos of, police officers holding the doors open for these people as they came in, and these people were so rowdy that they stayed between the red ropes as they toured the Capitol building. It's a horrible travesty of justice there. Although, Craig, I'm beginning to think it might be corruption, because if AOC said it's corruption, I mean, she knows what corruption is.
Well, we also know she's not the sharpest knife.
Yeah, but she's corrupt.
Mm-hmm. How was she with your drink orders?
She was all right. She actually did okay as a bartender.
Okay. Well, there you go. I think that maybe that's where she expended all of her brain cells. Maybe that's kind of where her
I can tell you,
capacity maximizes.
She was peaking then. She was peaking. Yeah.
She was peaking.
yeah.
Anyway, this is anyway, you know that there's going to be a lot of grief about this. You know Democrats are going to have a lot of grief. But then again, once again, when you decide the DOJ were the one who decided that, but the Biden DOJ were the ones who decided that they were going to go after Trump supporters. I mean, think about it. Of all the times that people have been charged with contempt of Congress, how many people have actually how many people have actually been prosecuted for it and gone to jail?
Only Trump supporters. Yeah.
Right. Only Trump supporters. That's it.
Yep.
Mark S. Turner says the truth about January 6th needs to be heard. Still a lot of mystery and hearsay out there about what went down. One of the most divisive topics in our society. Well, yeah. I think that you're right, Mark. And it's because, the two things are not mutually exclusive. That people engaged in inexcusable violent behavior. Yes, there were people who did that. And they deserve to be prosecuted. And that there were people who simply were prosecuted for simply walking in the building, right? For simply going into the Capitol and didn't do anything wrong. That also happened. The two are not mutually exclusive, right? You can say, yeah, there was stuff that went on there that was deplorable and shouldn't have happened and yada, yada, yada. You can also say that, that the government was overzealous in its prosecution. And they still, to this day, try to hang their hat on that as, quite frankly, the sole example of political violence on the right. They ignore the George Floyd Summer of Love. They ignore all of the attacks on school children and on churches and on politicians. They ignore the 3 assassination attempts on the president and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. None of that is quote unquote political violence. But January 6th, well, that was the day that a group of unarmed people almost overthrew the government. Yeah,
and listen, Craig, I don't give everybody a pass there. Obviously, I think we both agree that there were some violent actors there that were put there and some instigators in the crowd. But like we just discussed, those that the police held the door open for and they came inside. Well, listen, if those people helped themselves to souvenirs, they committed a crime while they were in there, as far as I'm concerned. It's not their property to take, But exactly. For the most part, it was, a non-violent protest.
Well, that's the thing. So the definition, when you like the Summer of Love, where it was mostly peaceful,
right?
It actually was mostly peaceful. Now, mind you, don't say that standing in front of a burning car. How about that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great placement. Yeah.
Shouldn't really undermine your entire case.
Yeah.
Not saying, just saying. Okay, look in here. Okay, here's another one. Okay, now this is actually a good one. A nice firearms victory for the Second Amendment. The Firearms Policy Coalition has won one in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. It says here the Second Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in Firearms Policy Coalition's Christian v. James lawsuit that New York's ban on firearms at all publicly accessible private property without express consent of the owner, also known as the vampire rule, violates the Second Amendment. The court, however, also facially upheld the state's ban on carry in public park. FPC was joined in the case by FPC member Brett Christian and the Second Amendment Foundation. The plaintiffs are represented by David H. Hobson, Peter A. Patterson, and William V. Bergstrom of Cooper and Kirk PLLC. Anyway, this is a big one because we have that law here, or they passed that law and it got thrown out in California. They also have that law in Hawaii. It's been thrown out. The only thing is that unless one of the lower courts actually upholds it, will the Supreme Court actually take it up? Then is the question. Because a lot of times, if all of the lower courts tend to agree on it, sometimes the Supreme Court won't take it up.
Yeah, and that seems to be the trend here. It'd be one we'd love to see up at the Supreme Court, but every time it gets to an appellate level, it's thrown out. It should be pretty clear, that it's a bad law.
Yeah. Well, what in the end will happen is, I'm sure they will wind up. Well, the policy is stayed, so that's good. But I'm sure that once again, the losing side. Actually, in this case, you'll probably see both sides go ahead and ask to have it moved up to the Supreme Court, or at least to get en banc. Largely because for the Firearms Policy Coalition, it's still banned in public parks, which I don't understand why that is a sensitive place. That makes absolutely no sense. It's a public place.
Odd. It's very, that would be the most public of public places, I would think, being a public park,
Right. Exactly. Exactly. How is it a sensitive place if it's public?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another good victory. And once again, I will continue to tell folks, look, I get it. Donald Trump has not been perfect on the Second Amendment, but Bruin is because of Donald Trump. It is because of the justices that he put on the Supreme Court. And a lot of these lower court rulings that we're seeing, once again, those are because of judges that Donald Trump has put on the court. And this change when it comes to the Second Amendment, these victories that we keep having one after another, that is thanks to President Donald Trump. And be grateful. Just recognize that.
DJT in the house.
DJT into his house. Most definitely. All right, in this last story, this was one that I'm sure anyone with half a brain could see coming. And that has to do with Honda posting its first ever annual, its first annual loss in almost 70 years. And guess what's to blame, Mike?
Godzilla.
It was not the Godzilla. It was. Okay, why is that commercial coming up? Here we go. Sorry about that. I'm hearing like a commercial in my ears, and it was driving me nuts. Here we go. Honda posts its first ever annual loss in nearly 70 years as electric vehicle bet backfires. Honda Motors posted its first ever annual loss since it was first listed on the stock market in 1957. The Japanese car company's bet on electric vehicle sales left it with $9 billion in restructuring costs due to low demand and President Donald Trump's Made in America policies. EV demand has declined considerably due to the rollback of environmental regulations in the U.S. and other factors, Honda said in a statement. CEO Toshihiro Mibe said on Thursday that the company, which suffered a $2.7 billion loss, would also abandon its target to make electric vehicle sales 20% of its profits by 2030. Now, one of the things that they're talking about is the fact that the federal government was starting to push the EV mandates that states like California have, where we're supposed to be 100% EV. Say all the cars are supposed to be electric vehicles by 2030. Now, maybe it's just me, but we're less than 4 years away from that, and it don't look like it's happening. And that's here in California, let alone in other places.
Yeah, Craig. Reason this failed was prophesized years ago, back in the 80s, late 80s, because Fonda ain't got a motor in the back of her Honda. Okay, we know that from back then. You try and put these EVs in there, and it's not going to work. You got to have a regular motor.
Well, I'm wondering why they're not investing more into the hybrid model. The biggest thing they got to do with the hybrid mods, they got to try and find a ways to make it so that the hybrid batteries, recharge the batteries actually have longer range on them. One of the reasons why people don't like the EVs is because, first of all, if you're in cold weather, the batteries don't charge real well. In fact, it's very hard to get them to charge in cold weather. The range on them oftentimes is too short, and especially if you're talking about larger vehicles, as soon as you start pulling more weight, once again, the battery power goes way down. But if you add a gas tank to it,
yeah,
it makes it. I mean, then all of a sudden now it's like I have a Jeep EV, a Jeep plug-in hybrid, so I can drive it anywhere. I can go long distances. It doesn't matter. But the length of time or the number of miles I can go on the electric battery is relatively short, which is great for my wife because she just toodles around town in it.
Yeah, listen, Craig, if anybody understands the whole, supply and demand manufacturing process, you understand it, and this has come true. You understand this. When EVs first came out, the range was poor, the batteries cost too much. Well, that's changed. Listen, the range has definitely gone up. The battery price has definitely gone down. Again, that's manufacturing, supply, demand, all of that. But it still comes down to what's the purpose behind it. The purpose behind it was so we could all get on these EV vehicles and we'd be off oil. Well, they've realized that we can't support that. If everybody switches over to EV, then we're guess what we're going to be doing? We're going to be producing more oil to support the charging EV vehicles. It's there's no solve to it. It is not the solve. And I think the reason that the hybrids don't work as well as they should work, consumer wise, is now you're giving me two systems I have to maintain instead of one, and those systems in there are limited based on supply and demand. So it's going to cost you more to maintain a hybrid than it is a regular car.
Well, what will wind up happening is that it will over time. What will happen is they will create a better product. If you force, if you create a false market, people will go to market with what they can go to market with now. Yeah. Not to say that they're not going to eventually improve it, but they're going to put crap out there. And then once they put the crap out there, people aren't going to like it, and then they're going to shy away from it. But if you let the market do its thing, right? You let the market determine, no, that's crap. We're not going to buy that. Force them to come up with something that people want to buy. Then people start buying it. Then the demand goes up, price comes down, and you also have a product that actually works for people. Yeah. That's what happens when you let the market. But when the government starts putting in mandates,
right,
or providing incentives for you to buy something, they start manipulating the market. It always works out poorly. Always.
Yep. Let the market decide.
Yes, let the market decide. Anyway, folks, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com, use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, and get your hog holster today. All right, this first one, you guys, we're always dealing with political drama. Where you ever wonder where they get the props for their political drama? Here it is.
Fake tears. Good for border visit photo ops. AOC also buys our invisible handcuffs. We don't sell many, but good profit margins. My slogan here at the prop shop is, I make it, you fake it. Your one-stop shop for discrimination, desperation, and virtue signaling. Handmaid's Tale costumes. Which reminds me, I am out of XXX's. My name's Nick Peterson, and I sell props for political theater. My job is to create the essence of performative moments. That way they can just focus on acting. 200 white pantsuits before the next State of the Union address. I don't know if I'll have enough fabric for other hijabs. I opened this shop in early 2017. Congressional acting was on the rise, which proved effective since common sense was on the decline. Let's see, fake chains, prop COVID masks for politician group photos, release the file pins. Ironically, the people who buy these voted no on releasing sexual misconduct reports about themselves. You might wonder, why do people fall for fake theatrics over and over? Well, Why does your dog fall for the fake throw every time? The dumber society gets, the richer I get. Here we have seat cushions for Democrats, for when the president acknowledges our servicemen, survivors, that kind of thing. Think about this. What do the founder of the pet rock, pyramid schemes, socialism have in common? They had the foresight to capitalize on stupidity. Wait. Don't forget your flag. Jackpot. We keep just about every country in stock. But the key is to instantly bulk order any country that Trump has beef with. We sell out of most of them. Except the American ones. They never seem to want those. As these people became more ideologically fluid, as they would call it, I had to learn Photoshop pretty quickly. You have to adapt in a forever evolving flag world. It's also exhausting. And I don't know what the connection between what people like to do in the bedroom and economic systems is, but anything to be different, I guess. When I was a kid, we'd just wear Jinkos. To be honest, it's really sad that there's so many people out there willing to commit all their time and money to theatrical nonsense. It makes me really sad.
Again, let the market demand. The market, make the market make decisions for you. Yeah.
There you go. Speaking of the market, just so you know, new Bond movie is coming out, and I got a snippet from it. Check it out.
Who is this?
I'm Bond. James Bond.
Seriously though, where is Mr. Bond?
Are you insinuating that a half-black, half-Mexican, transgender, homosexual, disabled dwarf who identifies as they/them can't be a James Bond?
No, I just thought that you would be...
A straight white male? It's 2022, sweetheart. Get over yourself.
Very well.
Then I should inform you that we have your girlfriend hanging over a vat of lava, so give me the nuclear launch codes.
She is not my girlfriend. She is an independent, platonic woman, and she most certainly does not need a man to rescue her. You Russian bitch.
Lower her into the lava.
Do it.
She's killing everyone!
Told you, bitch. She's gonna be the one saving me.
Kill them!
Bring it, Zaddy.
She's too powerful!
It's they/them.
How is that physically possible?
Oh, okay. You think it's physically impossible for a woman to do what a man could do in an action film?
Yes!
Sweetheart, I've been recording this whole conversation on a secret mic, which means you're now canceled. Bye, bitch.
Coming to theaters near you.
Huge viewers. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of people watching that. Yeah.
Going to be a lot of people watching that one. Now, this is one, people always want to give someone grief over supporting. We get a lot of grief from the left over supporting Donald Trump. But imagine giving this guy grief over his desire to vote for Donald Trump.
Imagine calling President Trump racist, and then this happens.
I'm voting for Trump. So what somebody's going to do about it?
I disagree with you.
So what?
Yeah, does it make you feel weird that people...
So what?
Why is it people care about your opinion so much? Is that weird to you that people freak out about your opinions?
No, they believe I have a lot of followers, this and that, but this is my opinion. This is what I believe. But if I like Donald Trump and I want to vote for him, I'm going to do it. So what? What are you going to do? Beat me up?
No,
I don't think so.
No, stop. I don't...
I bet you people don't express their Trump derangement syndrome. I bet you they keep it in check around Iron Mike.
Around Iron Mike, yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Oh, fun stuff. All right, folks. Well, that brings us to the end of our program. But before we go, we're going to give one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep, Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Get on over there, get your some AR barrels. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire. And then you can get regular pistol, rifle, shotgun barrels every day. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. They can take part in California's future today. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, any kind of gear you can imagine, get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
Once again, folks, please take a moment, visit our sponsors, and tell them the guys over at the Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. We will be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. Till then, y'all have fun, stay safe, and we will see y'all mañana.